Shri Ganeshaya Namah. Om Namah Shivaya. I am Chandan Kumar Mishra, once again connecting with you with some of the recently observed inferences and my own perspectives about global context that I am going to share with you. You should use notebook and pen to document your day-to-day base learning and related things. So let us discuss like Sankar's Vishnu Kailas, I Love Paris. It's a very good notebook. You can use. It's published by Vishnu Enterprises. Myself, Chandan Kumar Mishra from Bhavanpura, Mubarakpur, Gusola, Danapur, पुलिस स्टेशन फुलवारी शरीफ जिला पटना, देवी मंदिर के पास, बिहार, भारत, पिन कोड 801505. My previous email ID was shiksha_ckm@yahoo.com. Another was agrotechcorporation@yahoo.com. Then I have recently used my email myvidya@outlook.com, email to ckmishra@gmail.com, and vidyabandhakendra@gmail.com. I was born on 10th January 1988. My blood group is B positive. My YouTube channel ID is @ChandanMyVidya. My Aadhaar number is 415084834584. PAN card number AXJPM53422D. So let us have some prayer for global peace and prosperity. Shubh Labh. Om Namah Shivaya. Shri Ganeshaya Namah. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaya Vichaya Namah. ओम गजाननं भूतगणाधिसेवितं कपित्थजम्बुं फलचारुभक्षणं उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारकं नमामि विघ्नेश्वरपादपङ्कजं सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमस्तुते. ओम ब्रह्मा मुरारितिप्रणतकारिं भानुशशिभुमिसुतो बुधश्चं गुरुश्च शुक्रः शनिराहुकेतु सर्वे ग्रहाः शान्तिकुरु भवन्तु. ओम गंगे चैव जमुने चैव गोदावरी कृष्णा कावेरी जलेस्मिन् सन्निधिकुरु. ओम पुण्डरीकाक्षः पुनातुं समुद्रे वैष्णोदेवी पर्वतस्तन्मण्डितं विष्णुपत्नी नमस्तुभ्यं. पादस्पर्शे क्षमस्व मे. या कुण्डेन्दुतुषारहारधवलां, या शुभ्रे वस्त्रावृतां, या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरां, या श्वेतपद्मासनां, शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसार परमां आद्यां जगत्व्यापिनीं वीणापुस्तकधारिणीं भगवतीं जाड्यान्धकारपहां. अंग पवित्र पवित्र वह सर्वास्थांगत पिवा यह स्मृत पुंडरीकाक्षं सभाय भयंतर शुचि पुंडरीकाक्ष पुनातुं. वक्रतुंड महाकायं सूर्यकोटि समप्रभं निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयं सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चिदं दुःखभागं भवेताम्. ओम विद्युत्तां समप्रभां रिपतिस्कन्धस्तां भीषणां कन्याभिकरवालकेलविलसद्दस्ताभिरां सेवितां. हस्तैचक्रगदासिकेटविष्कांश्चापं गुणं तद्रणीं बिभ्राणामनलात्मिकां शशिधरां दुर्गां त्रिनेत्रां भजे. ओम दुर्गाय नमः. मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुड़ध्वज मंगलम पुंडरीकाक्ष मंगलाय तनोहरि. ओम कर्पूरगौरम करुणावतारम संसार सारम भुजगेन्द्रहारम सदा वसंतम हृदयारविंदो भवम भवानी सहितं नमामि. ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः. महालक्ष्म्यै च विद्महे सरस्वत्यै च धीमहि तन्नो शक्तिः प्रचोदयात्. नमः. ओम ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुण्डाय शिवे नमः. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयं सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चिदं दुःखभागं भवेतहम्. सभी मानव सुखी हों, सभी निरोग और स्वस्थ हो जाएं, सभी मानव सज्जन और भद्र पुरुष हैं, यह भावना बनी रहे तो किसी को दुख नहीं होगा. अब प्रश्न उठता है कि सभी मानव कैसे कैसे सुखी हो सकते हैं. दूसरा, सभी निरोग और स्वस्थ कैसे कैसे हो सकते हैं. तीसरा, सभी मानव सज्जन और भद्र पुरुष कैसे कैसे बन सकते हैं. चौथा, किसी व्यक्ति के लिए अच्छी भावना और शुभकामना बनाए रखने के लिए क्या क्या उपाय या सुझाव हैं. पांचवा, किसी को दुख नहीं हो इसके लिए क्या क्या करना चाहिए. So international institutions and like renowned and learned persons from India and abroad are thinking thoroughly to understand the consequences and challenges of the survival of the human lives, and they often discuss at different forums to resolve the persisting problems in progressive manner. Let us discuss like what are the frequently used call of action related statements or appeal during speeches delivered at United Nations General Assembly. Data analysis hint like answer hint source. Watch United Nations General Assembly 79th playlist on United Nations YouTube channel and analyze the presentations delivered by delegates to answer this question. I would like to share a few of example like peaceful diplomacy are often promoted, protection of the human rights of the general populations are always advocated, protection of the human rights of the persons in distress, vulnerable community, armed conflicts affected community, migrants and displaced person due to the natural calamities or armed conflicts are also advocated so that humanitarian services could be availed them properly. Next, assuring sustainable and inclusive development of the all fellow inhabitants of human beings on our planet Earth are always promoted by United Nations broadcast. They also discuss about conservation of biodiversity, climate change related disaster risk reduction, assuring food security for all, non proliferation of the nuclear arsenals, control and ban on use of chemical and biological weapons of mass destruction are often discussed to assure non-violent, peaceful global world order. Then fair trade policy and obedience of financial regulatory measures are also promoted. Another is ceasefire declaration related appeals, security enforcement for vulnerable community, valuable person and victims of natural calamities and or armed conflicts are also discussed. And international forum also argue and request member nations executive head to arbitrate and resolve the issues of disputes between either of the member nations through arbitration and diplomacy. Again, I would like to share a few of the program of action you can also note and document. Like on 4th of July 2025, I had prepared presentation on recommended references for observable inferences about context and rationale of the contemporary global world order and uploaded on my YouTube channel ID at Chandan My Vidya. Number 2, reviewing the daily press briefing by Stephen de Zurich of United Nations. Like if you will watch the presentation on YouTube, you can also learn, you can translate it into your respective language of understanding. Like on 4th of July, they were discussing about like a report about Secretary General trip announcement, Gaza, occupied Palestinian territory, Lebanon, Cyprus, Ukraine, Russia, then senior personal appointments, Yemen global risk report, international days, financial contributions, and other issues were covered. If you will watch, you can share your insight. Then 14th BRICS summit of the BRICS would be organized in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. PM Modi also visited there. And strengthening multilateralism, economic, financial affairs, and issues of artificial intelligence would be discussed during that program as it was scheduled so far. But however, artificial intelligence are being discussed, but the natural intelligence of the people must be respected because artificial intelligence is mere a creation of the natural intelligence, and the right of intellectual property belongs to the person who had invented or discovered or created the interfaces of artificial intelligence. 7th July 2025, like outreach sessions of the environment conservation COP30 and global health would be discussed as it was broadcasted. Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General, reported to United Nations on Conference on Financing for Development FFD4 that was organized in Spain, that PM of Spain Pedro Sanchez of Spain emphasized on consensus building on Seville agreement to strengthen multilateral cooperation to fulfill Sustainable Development Goals 2030, demand for funding and reform of the global financial institutions and infrastructure so that a smooth delivery of the finance and its related use for procurement and supply of essential life-saving resources and services could be assured promptly whenever and wherever it is required. Then cooperative international federalism would be promoted. Gaza people in displacement would be supported through food, health, shelter, and economic employment opportunities with international and local humanitarian service providers. Law enforcement ventures would remain active to arbitrate for peace establishment, ideology for non-violent and welfare-oriented inclusion of the people in distress were promoted. Release and repatriation of the hostages were advocated. Immediate and permanent ceasefire related initiatives were endorsed by United Nations. Stress management support to be provided to the person in distress, and it would be provided by United Nations recognized entities and individuals. Remarks Remarks for resolution of the persisting conflicts should be corresponded directly to the concerned parties of the concerned disputes and enforcement agencies. Then I had broadcasted my presentation on my YouTube ID at Chandan My Vidya about draft format for reporting about a successful meeting, which you can search and watch. Then broadcasting my presentation on references for observable inferences on my YouTube channel ID at Chandanmay Vidya. I have written an article also like context, rational, and way forward for respecting intellectual property rights of the intellectuals. Like a number of learned and dedicated intellectuals from humanitarian services related planning, coordination, programming, implementation, monitoring, and evolution, reporting, and financing are working days and nights across the globe. These naturally intelligent people sincerely witnesses and analyze the context and challenges of the sufferings of the global humanitarian society. Their empathetic sentiments towards the victims of armed conflicts, civilian insurgencies, and natural disasters are clearly inferred through their presentation in text, audio, or video formats on reporting on Google, YouTube, Twitter, news known as X, and other forum of debate, discussion, or newses. The humanitarian service providers often advocates for inclusion and what we can say fair estimation evaluation for granting us designated remuneration for our intellectual services. As the very process of the interactive and participatory learning advocates for mutual interaction and systematic uses of the media of ICTs, information, education, and technology for content research, analysis, and reporting of the inferred observations, insights, perspectives, opinion, advices, suggestions, and recommendations in favor of the protection and defense of the fundamental humanitarian rights of the people. Competent authorities and institutions should incorporate as such means of descriptive data analysis and engagement of the opinion leaders and service providers, stakeholders into the institutionalized program of activities to utilize their skills, experiences, and expertise to improve the efficacy and performance of their organizations. Guys, if you are interested to understand and learn, you must feel comfort in your respective language of understanding. Like if your mother tongue dialects is Hindi, you will be easy with use of Hindi. You can translate in that language because United Nations recommends 6 languages for official correspondence. That's why I often emphasizes to improve my English presentations and sharing you my perspectives in English. So excuse me for that. I often used to correspond in English since last few years, but I used to write in Hindi also. You translate into your respective language of understanding to understand things properly. Rational and competent valuation committee should be constituted by all members of the United Nations for monitoring valuations and standardization of the knowledge processing by the intellectuals of their native origin and immigrants. Remittances are also earned by intellectuals for their intellectual services. WIPO, World Intellectual Property Right Organizations, UNESCO, IMF, World Bank, and UNITAR, United Nations Institutions for Training and Research, could support members' nations to respect and remunerate the developed intellectuals of their respective nationality to sustain the intellectual sustainable development of their nations. UNCTAD, United Nations Convention on Trade and Development, also facilitates for such arbitrations, negotiations, and resolutions of the financial matters for assuring financial freedom and rights of the people working across the globe. If developed talents are ignored, deprived, and excluded to harness the benefits of social, political, legal, and economical progress and prosperity, the progressive outcomes and impact of educational development suffers in long run, as well as the credibility of such nations are also questioned and decreases among international community, because development is meant to develop individual. If individuals are developing, then their skills, education, knowledge, competence should be respected, and they should be paid appropriately, promptly, on time. Because if such fair practices of financial transactions are not being followed, then what would happen? Resultantly, the credit ratings of the nations also decreases. Respectively, ratings of the such concerned nations regarding vibrancy of democracy, freedom, human development index, global happiness index, foreign direct investment, foreign portfolio investments, approaches for proposal and partnership from other member nations of the United Nations also decreases and declines. So, for maintaining the credibility and accountability of the nations, concerned persons should be paid promptly, on time, with honorarium to honor their talent, so that intellectual achievements should be respected and intellectuals should be paid proportionately as per the internationally practiced rates. They should be regularly provided with ample of opportunities and avenues of engagement into the planning and implementation related services provided by the ruling government and governing system of that secular sovereign socialist republic nations inclined for welfare of the fellow citizens, as well as to contribute for the global humanitarian society also. From Chandan Kumar Mishra, on 4th July 2025. In due course of time, I would be sharing my further presentations with you. In the meanwhile, you pursue your own dreams and endeavors. Good luck.